Hey guys, what's going on? Watomarmelon back here again. There's a lot to discuss with today's Market Watch. As always, if you guys enjoy, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. But importantly, if you're going to be buying something on eBay, just click the eBay link in the description before you buy it, and it supports the channel at no cost to you. So starting things off, we've got the 25th anniversary Legend of Blue Eyes set. I really like that these are being reprinted, and these sets and booster boxes of some of the most iconic and nostalgic sets of all time are now available for quite reasonable prices. You know, $72 for a Legend of Blue Eyes booster box was unimaginable 2 years ago. And so having something that's a little bit more affordable to get people back into the swing of things and able to open up packs that they've been wanting to open for much more affordable prices, I'm a huge fan. I don't think it's great that they didn't add in a special gimmick for the 25th anniversary packs. It would have been nice to have a quarter century secret rare chase, maybe print the secret rares as quarter century secret rares. I don't know. So I think they did drop the ball a bit on that, but you can see that the singles are more expensive than I would have expected, to be honest. I mean, tons of this is about to be opened and has been opened, but I think people are still trying to, open up to complete the set. I think there are probably people who are, collecting an entire set of the 25th anniversary edition, and so are not having a problem, forking over a couple of bucks just to complete some cards that they didn't pull. Not surprising, the ordering of how cards are performing, but this is being sorted by best selling. I can sort by high to low. Not surprisingly, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Exodia, and Dark Magician are sitting at the top, along with the Exodia limbs, but overall a really fun set to open, and I'm glad that they did do these reprints. Next up, we've got Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge. We just have to keep taking a look at this because it's surprising to see all the movement. You can see that Zeus is being bought out. There are only 9 copies left on the market. It's a bit surprising that they went after the quarter century secret rare of Zeus. To me, this just didn't really make a lot of sense as a quarter century secret rare reprint. But to each of their own, I guess it's still, holding its own value. I know they recently announced there's like a starter deck kit. It's meant to really bring people into the game, and one of the decks revolves around Zeus, if I remember correctly. And so I think people are banking on the fact that this might get new people to the game, and they're gonna, be reminded of Zeus, and Zeus is gonna be one of those cards that really sticks with them. We'll see how that pans out. Other than that, you can see that the quarter century secret rares really aren't performing quite well. A lot of them have really started to bottom out. But, there's still interesting ones like the Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic. This is one that I'm interested in picking up. I've been considering it. I'm about to be in the process of a move, and I'm going to be paying, the last month of my old rent and my new rent at the same time. So I probably will hold off on picking up any more expensive cards for the time being, but this is still like a really interesting card to me. I understand that it might go down in the future, but it's still a really fun one. Here's Harder with the Dragon. I don't know why they gave this the quarter century secret rare. I understand the reprint, but it already has a ghost rare and an ultimate rare, and I don't think a ton of people were chasing after high rarity reprints of Harder with the Dragon, but it is what it is. Next up, we've got Mirror Jade Starlight Rare out of Photon Hypernova. You can see that this thing's been tanking on the 3-month price chart, but if you notice, there have been a lot of sales for a Starlight Rare. This is a really, really high sales rate. This is actually the highest sales rate of any Starlight Rare right now. And it seems that people are picking this stuff up, or picking this card up, now that it's hit the 250 mark. And so we'll see where this thing ends up. Obviously it's part of the sort of branded and Alba's engine, and so it's an interesting playable card. I don't know how many collectors are picking up Mirror Jade, but it's still a fun one for sure. Next up, we have Divine. We have Zeus again. It's not a surprise to anybody since we looked at the quarter century secret rare. This is one that's interesting as well, because you can see that the quarter century secret rare was bought out quite considerably. past $200, but the original print Starlight Rare has done nothing but really go down. There was a sale at $349 today. You can see that there's $374 listed right now. There's 4 copies from Gamer's Choice. There are tons of these things, high quantities of this stuff, so it's a bit surprising that people are going after the quarter century secret rare, but not the original print Starlight. More original print Starlights, we've got Stardust Dragon. This is one that, had a couple of sales that were, really indicating a lower price point about a week ago. But you can see that it's done a little bit of bouncing back since those $500 sales on the 7th. I don't know what those were. It's a bit surprising that there are 3 sales at $500 and then immediately it bounces back to $635. But here it is back in the 600s, although you can see that it has fallen out from its kind of the recent highs that it's been experiencing, although on the yearly chart it's done quite a bit of growth. And so this is one of those chase Starlight rares that I think may do well over time. I always have been down on this thing because it has an original print Ghost and original print Ultimate Rare that are extremely hard to find. But I guess people really like the Starlight Rare. I do think that it looks great in Starlight Rare, so I'll admit when I'm wrong. Sprite Blue, another one that's being picked up quite a bit right now. You can see all these sales on the 13th, 14th, even going back. The whole essentially page is filled with sales. Still a ton of these things on the market. You can see there are 3 from this seller, 7 from this seller. I mean, these OTS pack Ultimate Rares, they really, really did well during the pandemic, but now that things and the market has cooled off considerably, people are not really shelling out the same sort of money for these OTS ulties as they once did. This thing is cheap, cheap, cheap. You can get it for under $30, and there are tons of them at that price point. Here is one that has done extremely well now that Edison is a popular format. Looking at Caius, you can see that near mint unlims are now $445. This is one that it's such a staple for Edison format that I think, there are enough Edison players to hold this price, because I always thought it was going to come down. I saw the buyouts, I saw the next wave of buyouts, and it just never really ended up coming back down. You can see that it got up to $430, and where is it right now? Back above $430. I don't know if there's enough supply of this Ultimate Rare to sort of satiate the market for it. Next up, we have Cyber Dragon Alternate Art Ultimate Rare out of OTS Tournament Pack 16. This is one that I've been eyeing, not buying. I've been eyeing it to buy it, but it's a fun card. You can see that they're now at $80 again. This is one that, I kind of missed the boat. I believe it was selling for a bit cheaper. Yeah, it was down near 70 for a while. Now you're looking at 70 for an Italian copy, which honestly the foiling on this is a terrible photo, but the foiling on the Euro print probably makes it a lot more aesthetically pleasing, so that might not actually be that bad. And then you can see English copies at 80. And then you compare it to the Ghost Rare out of Ghost from the Past 2, which has done nothing but fall. That's not entirely true. There was this sort of rebound, but I don't see this thing recovering. There's just too much supply out there. Ghost from the Past 2 was printed an ungodly amount. And this is another thing I underestimated, just how much of Ghost from the Past 2 there is. And they doubled the Ghost Rare rate, or they made it twice as easy to pull. So not surprising that it's falling out. And it's also not surprising given that there's a quarter century secret rare for Cyber Dragon right around the corner. And so that's another mid-modern rarity to compete with the Ghost Rare, and so you can't color me surprised that this thing isn't doing quite as well as one might expect. Without the quarter-century secret rare on the horizon, I wonder where it would be, but you can see there are 84 listings. There are just so many listings of this thing. People have tons of it, and I think there are a lot of other mid to high rarity options that other people are going for. Next up, we've got Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. This is just a fun card out of Lord of Tachyon Galaxy, the cover card for that set. If we look at near mint, you can see that unlims are around 58. That's actually not bad at all. This is one that I've been looking for a while. If we look at first edition, you can get lightly played for under 50 or about 50. And then first edition near mints, you're looking at 96. This card is one that I remember during the pandemic was, closing in on 150. So to see it, back below 100, it's nice for those of us who don't have it because, this is one that I've been looking at for a while now. Fun card. There's a lot of this sort of Xyz era stuff that, the Zexal era, I watched a little bit of Zexal actually in the background. I know it's a show that's really oriented towards kids, but it's something that you can just put in the background and you don't really have to pay attention because the plot is so easy to understand that you don't have to actually be listening at all to know what's going on. But, I do like the Xyz monsters, and I think the Ghost Rares really pop on the Xyz stuff. Next up, we have a modern Ghost Rare. This is out of Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm. They have that new volcanic monster coming out. We'll see in the newest Duelist pack that's going to release. We'll see whether they, what card they give the Ghost Rare in that set, or if they try to do something new with quarter century secret rares. These Legendary Duelist packs haven't done particularly well recently, especially when you look at, I think it's called Duels from the Deep. I mean, that one just completely flopped. You can see that this one, there's Gamer's Choices 22 of these things at under $20. I mean, I don't really see a world where this thing, recovers. There's just too much supply, but it's still a really cool looking card. I think it's a great time to be a collector because there's a lot of stuff that's fallen out considerably and a lot of really interesting, fun stuff in a lot of these modern high rarities. Next up, here's a not so affordable thing. You've got purely collector's rare. There's one at 105 unverified and then 109. Quickly goes up from there. People are calling it the EV of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I think it's more that it's a playable card right now, but I could be wrong. This might be something that people really hold on to for their collection. I think collector's rares are pretty dangerous as, holds for your collection. Like, if you're paying 3 figures on a collector's rare, nowadays you really have to consider whether it's going to get, quarter century secret rare down the road, or a ghost rare. I mean, it seems like they've really, held off on the ghost rares, but the quarter century secret rares, if this gets a quarter century secret rare, you can expect that this collector rare price is going to plummet. And so they've been very, very happy to print things in quarter century secret rare, and the thing is they print a ton of them, right? They're 25%, and so they're going to be really pulling from a lot of stuff, and they seem to be quite happy to pull from cards that already have collector rares that have done quite well. So we'll see where people are at on the purely. Next up, we've got Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. This is one that I love. I'm blown away that we have copies that, lined up at $20. I picked up a copy for $30, I'm not going to lie. I forget when it was. Might have been I don't think this was me. That might have been me. I don't know. Or it might have been this one. I don't know. But I picked it up and then it just plummeted in price. But, it is what it is. I'm not salty about it because I think the card looks incredible. I'm actually considering picking more of these up once I'm sort of done with my move. Just a really cool looking card, but it shows sort of the fragility of the collector rare market. People are not really dying to hold on to this stuff. And as people are there's so much modern stuff to collect, you can't collect all of it. And so a lot of the stuff that's been out for a while now, and there isn't a lot of interest because it's not super playable, that stuff is really, really fallen to the wayside. Next up, we've got Astrograph Sorcerer. This is one that I picked up only to have it spike up and the order ended up being canceled. It's nice to see that it's come back down, so, hopefully it will come down a little bit more. I can see that there are tons of listings on this, and so when I see that there are tons of listings lined up, I am in no position to buy right now. I'm just going to wait this thing out. Now that the WCQ season is sort of ended, it seems that a lot of these larger vendors, specifically ones like Gamer's Choice, just have tons of these modern cards lined up, ready to go. And so eventually people are just going to undercut, and I don't see a world where people are desperately picking up Astrograph Sorcerers. So we'll see but this is one that I've got my eyes on because I like how it looks. Another collector rare, number 39 Utopia Rising. Again, fun card, super cheap, and you've got a ton of sellers lined up at $15. $15 for a card that collector rares 1 in 4 boxes, 1 in 3 boxes, and there are 15 of them per set. There are just a lot of these things out there, there are fewer of these things out there than people expect, but relative to demand, there's a ton of it. More collector rares, we've got the Chaos Creator. This is one that I've been eyeing for a long time. I see this sale at $55 for Near Mint First Edition. When Toon Chaos first came out, this is one of the pack artworks. And I've always been a huge fan of collector rares. I never have pulled the trigger on a Chaos Creator, but I'm getting close, and I can see that there are a number of sellers lined up at around $55. Way too many for someone to buy all of them, so... And given the sales rate, I'm pretty confident that I should just wait on this thing. I'm in no rush, but, another really cool card. And this is one that I got back into the game a little bit before Toon Chaos, but Toon Chaos is sort of the set that I remember being so excited for. And now the cards have really dropped in price, but it's fun to think that I might be able to pick up a lot of them now that the prices have gone down, and Chaos Creator was one of the ones that I was really drawn to when it first came out. So this is one that's on my, it's on my list of things to eventually pick up. And finally, we're going to round it out with some Dragons of Legend stuff. You've got Eye of Timaeus. This is one that has a Ghost Rare printing from Ghost from the past 2. Really fallen out due to that printing, but you can see there's 10 Italian copies at $10. But for a Near Mint First, okay, I'll just throw on the filters. Near Mint First Edition English is going to run you around $14.50, which is not too bad. Still a little bit cheaper than the Ghost Rare, I believe, but, I don't know how iconic Eye of Timaeus is. We'll have to see. And then finally, we'll round it out with Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight. This is one, you can see some sales. Near Mint First Edition for $40, that doesn't seem right. I'd be very surprised if that's correct. Okay, let's get rid of all these other copies. You got 54, bunch of sellers lined up at $54.99. So, some interesting stuff. And this is one of those cards that I think will get a quarter century secret rare when all is said and done, or at least it should. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Been your boy Watomarmelon. Peace out.